Welcome to this week's episode of the Xchange Zone podcast, the bridge between sports and life, where we talk to former collegiate, world-class, and professional athletes about the lessons they learned competing that they use in their life right now. Hey, we want to welcome you to the Xchange Zone podcast. You know what the Xchange Zone is. It's where this baton does not get dropped, because when we hear this noise, we have dropped the baton and we have been disqualified, which means we can't win the race because we can't even complete the race. And champions don't drop the baton. I am super excited about our guest today, Miss Katrice Alford Abdullah. I would let her tell her story. We don't want to waste too much of the listeners and viewers' time today. Katrice, welcome to the Xchange Zone podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Listen, I'm just going to jump in. Tell me about your sports history. How did you get into sports? What's your favorite sport? What's some of the sports you played? Just give us a little history, a little background into who Katrice is.
Okay. So, I'm born and raised in Houston, and if that doesn't say anything, it says a lot. I feel like we breed athletes, no matter whether it's out there on the turf or if it's on the hardwood, or on the track and field. That's what we do. Growing up in Houston, I was extremely competitive, even as a little girl. So I have a lot of male cousins, as you know,
Yeah.
and who are also very competitive. And I've just always had that competitive spirit. If you can do it, I can do it too, and I can do it better in some cases. And let me show you. So it's never one to back down. But by the time, unlike today, where young people have an opportunity to start, getting into sports a lot earlier. We didn't have that. You went through school, you had the little athletic clubs. I was in the jump rope club, I was in the hula hoop club, all
Okay.
those little things, couldn't wait for field day so I could show everybody what I could do. Arm wrestling with the guys doing class in elementary. I stopped that in junior high, realizing that wasn't a good look for a female.
Okay.
But just always really competitive. And by the time by the time I hit junior high, it was the first opportunity to actually start participating in team sports.
Okay.
And I started out with volleyball, love the serve, love spiking. I just fell in love with it, love blocking the ball. And then it was basketball, and then it was track and field. I was fast. So, just excelled in all of those things. And at that time, I was going to school in Spring Branch. And so I went to Landrum Elementary, and we're competing with like Memorial and those schools out there in Spring Branch, and just did really, really well. Excelled in my sports. I was excelling in academics. And by the time I got to high school, I think it was a next level, right? You're competing in different ways. I felt like I should be JV on everything. I'm not coming in this game to play freshman nothing. Uh,
Yeah.
I should be JV varsity. So competing, I was able to compete at the JV level freshman year. So by the time I got to my sophomore year, it was varsity from there on. I
Okay.
fell in love, like I said, with volleyball. Basketball was something that I love playing defense. I love anticipating what was getting ready to happen on the court. So always utilize that to my advantage. I was not the tallest girl, but I played center. I think by the time my senior year, I was maybe 5'8.5". But
Okay.
I played center. We had 6-footers, but I played center. And that was my coach's decision, because I'll hustle them. I would outwork our 6-footers. And when I was on the court competing against 6'1", 6'2" girls, and that was pretty tall at that time. We didn't have the 6'4s that we have now.
Right.
But I could outcompete them. I figure out how to intercept the pass before they got it, how to make them work hard. My goal wasn't that they weren't going to score. They were taller than me. Excuse me. They were taller than me, but I can reduce their scores. And when they played us, that center wasn't the top. She didn't hit her 40, 50 points. No, she was in her, if she hit 20, she was going to be in them, she was going to be in the teens because I was
Right.
going to work really hard to ensure that that was the case. So I understood my role.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then I played all three sports through high school where with track, I hated running. I hated running.
Come
My
on.
coaches, all my coaches knew I complained the entire time. I was going to do it, but they were going to have to hear me. If I got to run, you got to hear me. Um, but I still loved being fit. I still loved being out there in the field. So I really filled in a gap for our track teams where we didn't have many shot putters. If we had shot putters, I shot put, I threw the disc, I threw the javelin, I did high jump. High jump was something that I did that all throughout, and it was just a way of me still using my mind in that unique way that athletes have to. You know,
Yeah.
you're really and you're sharing what you're determining what your body can and will do,
Right.
and based on what that particular where what court you were on or what field you were on, you had to make that adjustment mentally. And I just love that. It was freeing in a way.
So
Yeah.
out of all those, I guess volleyball you said was your favorite.
Volleyball is my
Okay.
passion.
Okay.
All my most of my scholarships was for basketball. All my scholarships were for basketball. I took the one volleyball scholarship that I was offered,
Wow.
which was at Prairie View, and I it was the best decision that I ever made, honestly.
It's amazing when we listen to athletes talk about what they love and what they want to excel in versus what people thought. It's amazing how they come together. But I don't want to go down that track. You used a few words, but one you've used quite a bit in you catching us up, and this is this word of competitiveness, competition, where you enjoy competing. So
Absolutely.
we're a little bit more seasoned now and not able to do the things we used to be able to do athletically. Is competition and competing something that's still ingrained in you now?
Absolutely.
What do you do
Absolutely.
to scratch that competitive itch? What are you doing now to compete and to scratch that competitive itch? And then and the follow up to that or the B part of that is what is something that you learned then that you use now?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So one of the so I right now I work my job is I work for a financial analyst company, actually one of the top private financial analyst companies in the world. We have like 31 companies around the world. We have 31 offices around the world, about 9,000 associates. But I work at what would be the home office if we
Okay.
had a home office, right? So in our office in downtown Los Angeles, we have two buildings. It's like 550,000 square feet of space that
Okay.
the workplace experience team, which is what I'm a part of, I worked my way from literally, because this is not my field. My degree is in fashion merchandising and design. That was the field that I was working in. And interesting enough, and I really contribute this all to my years of playing sports, our ability with as an athlete, your ability to adjust and not see, you look past what's in front of you, right?
Right.
Stay open to opportunities, right? That's the game. That a great sport, a great athlete is always open to the opportunity, right? And you're always looking unconsciously and consciously, you're looking for that next opportunity. And I quite literally started at this company as a contractor, didn't think that this was where I was going to be. Had my son was Amori was 3 years old. My daughter Imani was 13. It was a lot happening, and it was just before we had the stock market crash or the housing crash in
Yeah.
2008, right? It
Right.
was
Right.
just crazy. So I working with this company, I started out contractor, worked my way up to senior, where I am now, senior coordinator at this company. And if you were to ask any of my colleagues, I'm one of the most well-known person
Okay.
globally within our company.
Okay.
And I attribute all of that to that foundation of in sports. We athletes, you learn to work with others, you learn to identify needs, you learn to solve challenges, and that's what I do on a daily basis. And workplace experience, your goal is to you're managing the environment of your office, and like I shared how much square foot 5 feet of space we
Yeah.
manage, but I also coordinate events, small and large, from 35 to when we're having our summer socials, it's 1,200 people, right? And I'm coordinating those events to make sure that they're successful, or how do we enhance what our planners are doing to ensure that the event is a success, and that it floats my boat.
Yeah.
And my goal, how I scratch that itch, each one needs to be better than the
Right.
last, right? It has to be. So I'm always thinking about, well, this is the time of the year. How can we bring this into the field so that our associates are getting this unique feel? And especially when now people are we're close. We're at 4 day work week, and associates are feeling a little unsettled
Yeah.
because you had COVID. You were
Yeah.
working from home, and now
Yeah.
you got to go into the office. You have to go into the office. So how do I make them feel as welcomed and make them feel as comfortable about being in the office as if they were working from home? Take the edge off, right? And then how do I make sure that that they have everything that they need so that their work can be successful? Because if they're successful, the company's successful. And if the company's successful, then we all grow. We
Right.
all grow,
Right.
right? And I share all of that to share an experience that I had, and what I realized from my me playing sports. um, Years ago, I was asked to speak to a group of young ladies, young basketball players. And when I was like, what do I say to these young people? And
Yeah.
as I was thinking about it, I was like, I realized I played my sport like I live my life.
Yes.
In all of that, I play my
Yes.
sport like I live my life.
Yes.
There was a couple things that wasn't going to happen. I was going to be unselfish. I
Okay.
was going to think about the team first.
Yep.
How does it going to affect the team as a whole?
Yeah.
How does my action affects the team as a whole? How can I contribute to affect the team as a whole?
Mhm.
The other thing I realized, you were never going to get one by me. You were never going to get one by me.
Yeah.
It was never going to be uncontested.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't gonna, it was never going to be an easy win. If we were competing, you getting ready to get 110 of me. Whether we were playing a friendly game outside the guys dorm on the basketball court, or we were on the volleyball court, and it's a championship game, you were getting 110. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And so you mentioned that, and so that's one of your drives, one of your motivators that you had then. I'm guessing based on everything that you've shared about how you're anticipating, you're executing, you're collaborating, that still motivates and drives you now, that to excel beyond expectation.
absolutely. Absolutely. I look to build relationships. Back when we played sports, everybody had a role, right?
Right,
You
right,
had a center,
right,
you had a point.
right,
And you were playing volleyball, you had your center, you had your hitters, your right, your left hitters, you had your center.
right.
Everybody had that goal, your role, and you learned your role. You
Yeah,
learned to work
yeah.
within your designated area, right? Your assigned areas. Today, and it's not a negative. Our athletes are taught to, you learn everybody role. You're the best athlete when you can play point, play
Right,
guard, play
right,
center,
right, right.
whatever it's called. We understood what their role was, but today they're the best athletes, can play those roles, right?
Okay.
That's all a benefit. It's a huge benefit, and that's, for me in my role. What I do is I go to the subject matter experts, and I build that team for us to have the best results.
Okay.
So I don't need to do AV, but I have a relationship with the AV partner that I can
Right.
call in and say,
Right.
hey, buddy, can you help me with
Right.
this?
Right.
I know the IT person who I can say, hey, we're having technical issues on this. Can you slide in there really quick? I have a great relationship with my partners who manage our facility side to say, hey, we're having challenges with this area. Can you configure this room in this way because it's going to give us the best result for this particular event. I have a relationship with my caterers. I have a
Yeah.
relationship with my building management team. So I know my security partners are on point. I know my building engineers are on point. And we all work, my janitorial team, we all work as one point. And I see us all as one team with one goal to
Yeah.
create the best event possible to make this happen. Because again, if they're successful, each group does their job right, then we all look good at the end and we all excel. It benefits us all.
Well, that answered the question about how you navigated team then and team now. So you just
Yeah.
right into that. So in
Yeah.
in building these teams now and collaborating with all these different partners and stakeholders, how do you build trust with them? How do you uh, yeah, let's just leave it there. How do you build trust or instill trust in them?
Oh, absolutely. I think the biggest way to instill trust is one, show people that you appreciate what they do. You recognize and appreciate them for what they do and their expertise that they bring to the table. I think the other way is to ensure them you're in a game with them. This is not they against us and
Yeah,
us against them and no, it's us. It's
yeah,
just one.
yeah,
Um, and it's really evident because you can see when some people are coordinating, and it's truly because of this approach. Everybody's not running to get in the game with them. But if I'm leading an event, partners look to get in the game with me because
yeah,
they know I respect them. They know I appreciate and value the work that they bring and the ideas that they bring. I remain open to their suggestions. It's not my way or the highway. No, no, no. It's us collectively working together for the best result. And in thinking about that, I've built trust with the management team of the group whose meeting it is because they know that I'm doing all of these things behind the scenes
yeah,
that and they don't have to worry about doing it. They know that I'm their contact and if there's a situation they can contact me and I'm going to get it into the right hands to resolve it quickly and seamlessly. That's what brings us success. And at the end of the day, isn't that what it's about? Being successful.
yeah, by winning.
That's the win.
Yeah. Yeah. So this idea of responsibility, this idea of leadership, is that something you got from a former coach that you learned, or what is or is it something you had instilled? And then if that's the case, what is something that you learned athletically or from a coach, a mentor, a teammate that is part of your red thread, part of your DNA, part of who you are now?
Okay, that's a really good question. So a lot of it, I'll be honest, I mean, our family is one who
Yeah.
we were always raised to be leaders.
Okay.
That saying, you're the head, not the tail, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes the word leader can be misunderstood by some who think that always means that you're up front. To be a great leader, you have to be able to be a good follower.
That's right. That's right.
You have to
Yeah.
be able to do
Yeah.
both. Your
Yeah.
best leaders know how to humble themselves and follow
Yeah.
when it's what's best for the
Yeah.
team, right? And realize that it doesn't take anything from you.
Right.
And so I learned that from our family and watching that and growing up within that. But it was also something that came natural.
Yeah.
People look to me. I don't show anxiety.
Yeah.
I immediately start thinking about how do we correct the situation? How do we balance this out? How do we make sure and not in an anxious way. So people um don't see anxiety on my face
Right.
and they seem to appreciate that. But they also see me working to resolve the issue. So you can't have no emotion and then no work.
Yeah.
They got to see the work happening at the same time. So because of that, I grew up with most of that. with a lot of that. It had a great foundation from home. I think another part of that, my college volleyball coach, Jocelyn Adams, I love her for a couple of reasons. And a matter of fact, I actually reached out to her about a year or two ago, as I was just reflecting about the year we won the championship. My goodness, I think she ran track.
Okay.
She ran track. She was a track star.
Yeah.
She was a track star, but she committed herself to volleyball. She had a passion
Wow.
for it.
Wow.
And watching her dedicate herself to a sport that she wasn't, it wasn't what she was known for, but watching her commit herself to it, it just spoke volumes to me. And I never forgot that. I never forgot that. I don't know if I ever told her that actually, that I appreciated and what that meant to me and what it did for me. But I did see it, and it did tell me that, you get to, it was one of those things like you get to decide your path. You
Well,
get
I
to
think
decide.
if you told her or not, I think you exemplified it. You mentioned earlier that you went from fashion into financial analyst into this. So whether we consciously or subconsciously see others doing things, and we also understand it can be done, and we embody those traits of people who definitely impacted us. Uh,
That part, that part right there. And and I'm gonna be honest, with our faith is really a strong foundation in our family.
yeah,
And in reading scripture, if you take the time to do so, you read about all of these different leaders and the different character traits of the leaders, and the greatest leaders that you read about, they built teams.
yeah, yeah,
They built teams.
yeah.
David built teams.
Right.
He had his core, but he built teams,
Yeah,
you know. And that the Lord built a team.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm
He
saying?
had
He had his
three.
people.
He had
He
12,
knew he
three, and
knew what
one.
their capabilities
Yeah,
were. He knew what their weaknesses were, but he
yeah.
built that team, right?
Right.
So and that part I think is also just that's something that's also been really beneficial as I began to be able to understand the word, and that's post college, right?
Right.
Diving in with understanding and building my relationship with God. It's post college. It just enhanced what I learned as an athlete. I remember, and I mentioned that I thanked my coach. I reached out to her about a year ago and thanked her because during our championship game, it must have been maybe the first or second match in a game. I sprained my ankle. That could have been the end of it. She could have said, "Oh, Katrice, okay, you're done. No more game, no more tournament for you."
Yeah.
But from our first year, she showed me I have proved I worked hard. She learned my spirit. She learned my capabilities,
Yeah.
and we wrapped that baby up, and she put me right back on the court.
Yeah.
And again, that was our first match. We had a full day of
Yeah.
tournaments and another full 2 days of tournaments left, and we that's how we played it. And I still started, and she still put me on the court, and what she knew, and she told me, she said, "Katrice, you were a tough cookie."
Yeah.
I knew. I said, but you knew that I would rather be on that court, and me being on that court, I was going to give you 110. I had one foot, but I played like I had two.
Well,
you
well
know?
let's talk. Let's because that's a great segue, a great thing. So when life sprains your ankle, now you learn
Yeah.
lessons. Then you learn lessons. Hey, I sprained my ankle. I still have to compete. I still have to show up. I still have to. I'm gonna wrap it up and still give the best that I can. How does that? Because right now, if you're in events, and I spent 25 years in the industry, everything does not go according to the run of the show. It doesn't go to the script. It doesn't go. And even in your fashion, things happen.
Yes.
May have a wardrobe malfunction. You may have Janet had one on the Super Bowl stage, but you might have a heel break. So when things aren't going the way that you anticipated them going, how do we handle those struggles? What are some things that you use, some tips that you you put into play that you've learned over your versatile career that help you now to, like you said, you don't show the stress. However, you're still getting the job done. So what are some things, what are some tips that we can learn from you, how you handle and overcome that?
The first thing I do is I say my prayer. Okay,
Okay.
Father, this is what's going on. You know where we need to be.
Okay.
Guide me,
Yeah.
guide me.
Yes.
And then I start looking around. I start panning around. The first thing you called out, you identify the situation,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Then you start putting on the tables, how can you resolve the situation? Is this something that's a simple fix, or is this something that you need to bring others into?
Yeah.
Identify what it's going to take to resolve the issue. Once you identify what it's going to take to resolve the issue, then it's just a matter of moving. You standing still and focusing on a problem doesn't do anything.
Thanks.
And that's for anything in life.
Yes.
Whether it's relationships, whether it's, work, whether it's the game, you focusing on the problem doesn't help you.
Gotcha.
It leaves you stagnant. And being stagnant is not an option. But if you can identify that problem, if you can then start working towards solutions, you can enhance what you thought was a problem. It looked like a problem. You can enhance an event from identifying that problem, identifying the issue,
Yeah.
what is supposedly the issue. And to your point, that I utilize that tool for events. I utilize it in fashion. Um, I actually did a fashion show last year, and the models weren't coming in quick enough. They not only were they not coming in quick enough,
Okay.
they were having a challenging time getting dressed. And I thank my sister. I love her to death. She was there helping me, but it was her first time in this situation.
Yeah.
And she's looking at me, why are you so calm? Why are you so calm?
Yeah.
I said, we got it. We got it. We're not going to put that necklace on. We're just going to put the coat, put the outfit on. We send them out.
Yeah.
Decide what's the biggest loss.
Right.
Somebody going out not showing the garment would be the biggest loss.
Right.
Having them go out without jewelry, eh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's an easy
Yeah.
that's an easy fix.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an easy fix. And then you have to decide and work on yourself, because we all have that conscience, like, oh, you messed up, it didn't go the way you planned, it didn't go the way they planned, or it's super hot in here, this event is not working, the engineers are responding quick enough. If you go to an engineer with that energy that you're not working fast enough, then what you did was now transfer what you're feeling onto them.
Right.
And now they can either get bothered and work slower, or now they're anxious and they can do something that really disrupts the entire thing, right?
Yeah.
Unconsciously. But if you go to them and say, look, I know you got this. If you could do your best to make it happen quickly, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Then they're now working. You know what? She's always kind. She's always respectful. Let me hustle up to make this happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's usually what I get, because that's the approach I take. If someone is security guard is not the best to one of my guests, then I go down and I have a conversation with security guard. I introduce myself.
Yeah.
I are you. My name is Katrice Alfred. Here's what's going on. Let me help you understand what this meeting is about. Let me help you understand who this guest was that
Right.
you were disrespectful to. And if I can provide them with a little context, say, "Ooh, I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't know,
Yeah.
but I know next time."
Yeah.
And that's what I need. I don't need you to focus on the fact that you didn't do it well this
Right.
time. Next
Right.
time, I need you to be ready,
Right. Yeah.
and get, hands in, let's go.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Can't do anything
and
about
you
the
just go.
blast shot. Yeah.
Can't do anything about it, but you can improve and make sure it doesn't
Blast
happen
shot.
again.
Yeah. That's good. So is there anything that so we have some young listeners, you have a young athlete. What is it that you learned that you wish you would have known then that you share now?
One, well, man. So yeah, I do
Okay, not
all
all of
of
it,
that.
not all of it. We would have to have you back, not all of it, but give us a couple key.
Okay, couple key things that I wish I would have known when I was younger. One, I had when I started out playing ball in college. Yeah, I had really great mentors. Man, I had a couple of sisters. Don Acock was outstanding leader, and my sister Nicole Green. Man, these ladies were watching them play the game. I think they were our seniors on the court, or our upperclassmen of maybe a couple, two more, but the rest of us were freshmen. But when you showed them that you could produce, they come up and they'd encourage you, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Funny, Nicole would walk up to me and say, Katrice, you better punch her, you better hit her in the face with it. And I was like, wait, you want me to hit her in the face?
Right.
But I don't think she meant literally.
Right.
But I think what she meant was, you have the ability to put it down
Right.
in this match.
Right.
This is a side out, or this is a point, this is match.
Yeah.
She would push it, like she showed me
Yeah.
her confidence in me, and let me know that that she believed that I had the ability and the talent to make
Yeah.
this happen.
Yeah.
And I had hoped to be that type of leader. They never treated us like you're freshmen. They never coddled us. They were like,
Yeah.
no, you on the court.
Yeah.
You on the court.
Let's
They
go.
don't care. Nobody. And that's what I gathered from I took away. No one cares that you're a freshman. Get in the game and finish this.
Right.
Right. Play your best game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the type of leader that I was then. What the type of leader that I am now is a lot more empathetic.
Okay. All right.
And I had little empathy then, honestly. You're on the court, play your game, you worked hard, show that you worked
Yeah.
hard, go for it.
Right.
Now I sit back and I watch my teammates' personality. But that came from learning myself. That came from healing from things that most unconsciously, and sometimes consciously, were affecting my decisions, right? In many ways, on the court, off the court. And when I learned to assess myself, that became a part of who I was, who I am every day. I constantly self-reflect. How did I respond to this? Man, I'm feeling like I'm ready to snap on this. And, why do you want to snap on it?
Yeah.
Really diving into it. Is there benefit?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
It's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're good.
Coming off a cold.
Oh, ouch. We don't need that lingering long.
That part.
We have events to run, people to impact.
That part.
Yeah.
All right. So if there's no benefit to my response or me saying something, I've learned to be quiet.
Gotcha.
I've learned to watch it.
Yeah.
Watch what's happening around me. And I'll be honest, that came a lot. That came a lot from prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Developing my relationship with God. And being willing to listen. Because my relationship with God, he talks to me like a real father.
Yeah.
He quite literally tells me to be quiet.
Yeah.
Be quiet, watch. Be quiet, watch.
Yeah.
And I've learned to hear that. And as I'm watching, he shows me more.
Yeah.
Which then allows me to respond better.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And that's how I work with my colleagues now. And it truly has made me a much better leader.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody doesn't see it the way we see it. Everybody doesn't feel the way we feel, and competition shows up differently based on the individual. I mean, you can
Absolutely.
have the biggest motor, and you may be a quiet person, and so you can't assume because they're not talking or they're not yelling, they're not screaming, or they're not doing it the way you would do it, that they're not concerned. And so, yeah, being able to watch and understand how each individual themselves can bring them best selves out really helps the whole team come together. That's good. That's good, Katrice.
And you quite literally hit it. We had a young man who was on our team, super quiet, but very efficient. I watched the way he engaged with our colleagues. I watched the way he addressed challenges. I watched the way he worked with challenging associates or associates who people thought were challenging. And when he applied for a management position, he didn't get it because they didn't think that he would be able to deal with those difficult
Yeah.
challenges. But they hadn't watched him like I had.
Right.
They hadn't had my preview
Right.
to be able to see this young man maneuver, manage, coordinate. And when he got ready to leave, because he decided, I'm going to go ahead and move on,
Yeah.
which is, it was a loss. And I knew it was a loss because he would have been an outstanding manager. He really, really, he had the people skills to be able to work with anybody.
Yeah.
And he also had the ability to partner and build, but they couldn't see it. But at that time, I had already been in the management positions. And when I was in the fashion industry, I literally worked my way up to sales and merchandising executive for a Hong Kong-based fashion company. I've been in positions where I could see great managers and what it would take to be a great manager.
Yeah.
But when this young man left, someone brought up the fact that he used to rap. He was, when he was young, he was hip hop. And this guy got up and he showed them all this personality that was like boom, and they were like, "What? What? Where is this? What? You're
Yeah.
so quiet."
Yeah.
He was never quiet. He worked efficiently.
Right.
He coordinated with everybody, but
Right.
it was a miss. To me, that was a miss for our company. To your point, each individual does it in their own way.
Right.
It's not going to look like it does for Katrice. It's not going to
Right.
look like it does for James.
Right.
It's going to look like the same for that particular individual. And
Right.
you have to be willing to see that and not see it as a negative that they don't address things the way that you would like them to address. No, that's a
Right.
benefit if
Right.
you so choose to see it.
Right.
But you
Absolutely.
have to be open to see that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's tremendous. Let everybody be the best that they were created to be and put people in position to be successful.
that part.
And that's what makes
That
it
part.
come together. If we all were the same, all thought the same, all looked the same, all act the same, somebody would be unnecessary. So how do we embrace, encourage, and cultivate that? That's what's in us. That's sweet. Okay, so we gonna get to some quick steps to get you out of here. What is a mantra or a quote or something that you live by today?
Give grace. Give grace.
Two words, so powerful. Give grace. Give grace. Okay. Back then, back in the day, we had Walkmans and we had CDs or tapes we would listen to. You had music that you liked then.
Yes.
You have music that you like now. Has the music, has a genre changed? And what would be something, what is a genre or a song or something that somebody would be surprised that's part of your playlist?
So it has absolutely changed.
Okay.
Some of it, growing up, I was definitely a huge Tupac fan. Still a huge Tupac fan. I
Yeah.
I, I like Pac. I love his conscious music for sure. Um, um, what is on my playlist? I'm like neo soul still.
Okay.
I love when somebody introduced me to some new neo soul. It's probably not even neo soul no more. That's probably not even a genre that they call it. But I still love the old Lauryn Hills, the
Okay.
Jill Scotts,
Okay.
the Erica
Yeah.
Badu, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, but what's on my list now is I enjoy gospel hip hop. I enjoy gospel hip hop. I I one a couple artists in particular I enjoy Andy Mineo and
Okay.
because he's always fun and he knows the importance of a great beat.
Okay.
So when I want to get going, I'm listening to him and Lecrae and
Okay.
KB and
Okay.
um NF when I want to get some, almost Eminem style
Yeah.
hip hop,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Cool. 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 Well, thank you for sharing that, Katrice. Is there anything that you would like to let the audience know? Anything that I haven't asked or we haven't discussed that you think would be important to our audience?
Um, you know, No, I think we covered a lot.
Did.
Just there's value. There's so much value in sports, in playing sports, and
Yeah.
being an athlete. And you learn how to work together. You learn how to, as we talked about, solve challenges, work through challenges. You learn how to work together with people you may not even like, but you
Yeah.
learn how to work together. You don't have to like everybody you work with, but you do have to be able to work together to be
Ooh,
successful.
yes, yes,
Um,
yes. That's
so
good.
you learn how to get past um, those differences and because if you dive in it a little deeper, you realize everybody, we're all like, we have more things in common than we have that are different at the end of
Yeah.
the day. Um,
Yeah.
and and I would encourage everyone, if your child is not playing sports, um, get them involved. Get them involved. There's so much more benefit to
Yeah.
playing sports than um, health, just health. Health is amazing. The fact that you get your body up and moving and active. Goodness, that's something that has truly blessed me throughout my life. Even still, I can't ever just not work out. I
Yeah.
can't ever just not do anything. It is a part of who I am. I have my elliptical over there right now, you know,
Yeah.
because you gotta stay moving, but it's also something what I found it was interesting. I modeled for Ebony Fashion Fair for 3 years, and one of the things that made it 3 years, which was rare, they usually didn't bring models back. I I was committed to my workout.
Yeah.
I was not only committed to being great on stage and presenting those garments, telling the story through the garments, it was also, I'd get up in the morning and work out. I'd work out when I come back from the show. I managed my meals.
Yeah.
I adapted. And that was something that incoming models could see. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I better get up in there. I better work out. I better, So I led by example.
Yeah. And
I led by
preparation.
example.
What's called preparation. We get ready. We
That part.
just show up for the game. We prepare and know what we're getting ourselves into. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, listen, Chris, I've enjoyed talking to you, enjoyed getting to hear your story from that side. I've had a great time. We thank you for taking time out of your obviously busy schedule to spend time with us. We thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. And the Exchange Zone podcast. Remember, champions don't drop the baton. Until next time, stay connected. Thank you, Katrice.
Thank you.